All right, this is no newsflash, but the University of Texas has the very best quarterback situation in college football. But there will be no QB controversy in Austin, Texas this year and moving forward. This is QB Unfiltered, my take. No quarterback drama for the Horns.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Okay, the Longhorns and head coach Steve Sarkisian are in the perfect QB situation. They got two dudes that can play at an elite level. Quinn Ewers is the man that led the Longhorns to the national semis last year and is considered one of the very best quarterbacks in college football, 2024. And Arch Manning is the young gun who stepped in when Ewers went down with an injury and electrified fans and officially introduced himself as the star in waiting about ready to burst on the college football scene. I'm also sure that there are a ton of Longhorn fans that are in the Quinn Ewers camp, and there are a ton of Longhorn fans that are in the Arch Manning camp. It makes for great conversations on social media and also really riveting arguments at the local watering hole in Austin, Texas. The argument on who should be the starting quarterback for any football team is as old as football itself. But as far as the Longhorns are concerned, that's where it ends, on social media and in the watering holes and bars in Austin, Texas. There is no quarterback controversy in the Longhorn football program, period. Because head coach Steve Sarkisian has and will step on this. And moving forward, it's definitely QB1 and QB2. So let's jump into the reasons why Quinn Ewers is QB1 and Arch Manning is his ridiculously talented backup. Number one, Ewers is damn good. And as the immortal Paul Bear Bryant once said, you dance with the one you brung, or something to that effect. And Ewers last year took the Longhorns back up to national prominence, put them in the semis where they competed for the 2023 Natty. He is proven, and he is the man. Number two, Ewers is battle-tested, and he's battle-tested against great competition. Been there, done that, won games, big-time performances against the highest level in not only the Big 12 conference, but on the national level as well. He's mature, and he's an established leader in their locker room, a proven winner, and he's one of the alphas that guides the Longhorn football program. Number three, while Sark can trust both quarterbacks, once your number one guy proves over a long and grueling season that he can take the hits, make the plays, lead the team, win games, run the offense the way you want to do it, repeatedly steps up and delivers, that is your guy. And number four, Sark's a smart coach. All right. He played quarterback. He played it at a high level. He coaches the QBs and he understands quarterbacks. He knows that a quarterback controversy will divide and destroy a locker room. In locker rooms, when you have a situation that is allowed to fester, where there is no definite number one guy and number two guy, you start having these camps that develop. And when that happens in your locker room, Quinn Ewers camp, Arch Manning camp, that is big time trouble for your football program. Sarkisian knows that. He knows it, and he's smart enough to not let it happen. And so when Ewers went down with that injury and Arch stepped in and really lit it up, you know, I'm sure that Sark in his mind knew 100% as soon as Quinn was healthy enough to get back on the field, he was the guy. Sarkisian's been around the game long enough to know that if you let a quarterback drama linger in your locker room and on your football team, that's a recipe for disaster. Okay, so what does Steve Sarkisian do in this situation moving forward? Well, he's got to make sure, and I'm sure that he will do this, to get Arch Manning a lot of game reps as much as possible. There is nothing like live game reps for a young QB in his maturation process and obviously his experience. And I don't mean necessarily inserting Manning into the game in the second quarter for a series just to get him in and play, because that's a tricky line to walk as a coach. It has a lot of different possible ramifications that aren't positive for your football team. But what I am talking about here is in every game, at the end of a game where Texas has the game, get Arch Manning in as soon as you can. And the key to this is when you put him in these games, let him run your offensive scheme. In other words, don't put Arch in the game and have him run the clock out, just turn around and hand the ball off to the running back or execute knee downs. Let him run the offense. All right. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean if you're way up on a team that you got him out there throwing verticals and posts and all that kind of stuff. I'm talking about run your quick game, your screens, your RPOs, little quick hitters behind the linebackers. Let him throw the football, make the checks, change protections, use hand signals to change receiver routes. Just get him that experience in game situation. And then keep coaching the hell out of him in practice. You know, this is where a lot of quarterback coaches miss the boat, in my opinion. It's always amazed me that the number 2 quarterback on a lot of football teams do not get the necessary reps in practice during the week. And then it's like the coaches are absolutely shocked and surprised that if their number 1 guy gets nicked up and they have to put the backup in, that he looks like a deer in headlights and he can't execute the offense. Okay, so my breakdown with my number 1 and number 2 quarterback when I coached was pretty much like 65% of the reps were my number 1 guy, 35% of the reps were my number 2 guy. And when my number 1 guy was in executing the drills or the team period or the 7-on-7 or the blitz pickup or whatever you're doing, my number 2 guy was standing right next to me. And for 2 reasons. Number 1, I was able to coach him up on the fly while I was watching the number 1 guy do his thing. And number 2, by having my backup stand right next to me, I assured myself that he was hearing all the coaching points I was making to the guy out there on the field doing the reps. Okay. And so while he's not physically out there doing stuff, mentally, he is getting those mental reps. He's hearing the coaching points. I'm also asking him questions. Okay. We're in, let's say 7-on-7. And we get up to the line of scrimmage and I turn to him and say, okay, what's the coverage? Boom. He tells me and I go, okay, what's your keys on the snap of the ball? Who you keying first? So I'm testing him. I want to know what he knows. And these mental reps go a long way when that number 2 guy gets in the game to get actual live reps. All right. So like I said at the beginning of the show, the Longhorns are in the best situation quarterback-wise in college football. They've got 2 guys that are elite quarterbacks and basically 2 starters, right, in their quarterback room. The production does not take a dip when Arch Manning goes in the game. If Ewers gets nicked up, Sark, the offensive guys, the defensive guys, their team, Longhorn fans, they know that Arch is going to go in the game and be able to execute Sarkisian's offense and go up and down the field. Okay, this is a big one. All right. Now, I did a show on this right as spring ball was hitting about 4 months ago or so, where I talked about one of the reasons why Texas is in such a great situation. Arch Manning didn't hit the transfer portal and won't hit the transfer portal. Think about this. How many talented young quarterbacks across the country have hit the portal because there was a guy in front of them that had another year of eligibility left, or they weren't starting as fast as they thought they should? Now, take the NIL crap out of the equation. The fact that Manning is staying at Texas and will stay at Texas, he's smart. And as I said in my earlier show, he knows that he's in a situation where he's in an offense that highlights his skills, but he's being coached by a guy that's a quarterback-friendly coach that can make him a better QB. And Arch Manning knows that when he takes the field in 2025, he's going to hit the ground running. All right. It's going to be, when he starts next year, it's going to be like he's been the starter for the last 2 or 3 years. And that's all because of his experience the first couple of years in the Longhorn program, whether it's in the meeting room, on the practice field with Sarkisian, or the game reps he's getting in the game experience. And then lastly, Quinn Ewers is a better quarterback because of Arch Manning. Okay, think about this, the competition that those guys have on a daily basis. Anytime your starter knows that the guy playing behind him can take his job, he's going to elevate his game. And that makes Quinn Ewers a better quarterback. Same thing with Arch Manning. Arch Manning's a better quarterback because of his competition with Quinn Ewers, and he has that model that he can watch every day in the locker room, the weight room, the meeting room, on the practice field. When you've got a guy in front of you that does stuff right and gets it done, that is a huge advantage for the guy playing behind him. So those two guys feed off of each other, and they push each other, and they make each other better. And in turn, that makes the Texas Longhorns a really lucky football program with their quarterback position. All right. If you enjoyed today's show, please hit the like button. That helps me out a ton. Pass the word to your buddies. If you enjoy my take, my analysis, my insight into playing the quarterback position, let me know in the comments down below what you think of the Quinn Ewers Arch Manning battle, and how Steve Sarkisian is handling this, and where you see the Longhorns at the end of the season once the playoffs start. All right, this is QB Unfiltered, and remember, always throw the ball short to guys who can score. See ya.
I got no